let's hope I can still get a video in before my appointment. I'm gonna go to see my therapist in like 25 minutes. I want to record this video because it's been on my mind for a while now. And I really feel like it would be a really good topic of interest and also help get a bit of an understanding of who I am and why I am the way I am. If you don't know me, my name is Light Langoya. Light Achayo is what my channel name is. And this is my YouTube channel. So today's video, I want to talk about what it's like growing up being an awkward, weird black girl. Like I still am a weird black girl. I definitely have come out of my shyness as I went through my teenage years and my early 20s. I still am in my early 20s. But just like the kind of impact and what my life experience was being an awkward or weird black girl. I definitely embrace the weirdness or the concept of being weird because it's not a bad thing. It just means you can't be fit in, like you're set apart, or you're more of like an outlier, or people just perceive you in a certain type of way because you don't conform. And I think it's great because we are all very different, like as people, as individuals, but especially as Black women, we are very different. We're not boxed. We're not the stereotypical archetypes that are being depicted in the media or even on social media. Like we're all very different. And it's taken me almost 23 years to fully embrace just like the identity that I have and that I am, as well as being confident in that, because it definitely reflects in even how I produce content and the authenticity behind the content that I make. I recently had this conversation of being a weird or being an awkward black girl with my friend. She's also another awkward black girl. And we very much clinged onto, or we related on that because our childhood was very different. Very different from other people, other Black people. And I feel like there are a lot of weird Black girls, but we may not be out there as much compared to like the confident Black girl or the bougie Black girl or the ghetto Black girl or the overachieving athletic Black. Like there's so many archetypes because we're all very unique people, but there are definitely stereotypes that we definitely are placed in or are being forced to be boxed into. In my childhood years, I was always very quiet, always in my own world. Like anyone who knew me would say like, Light is just there. Like I just existed. I would say I was the Black person that just existed. And I'd be like, oh, what's wrong with that? Nothing. But apparently people have an issue with it. And I came to find that out earlier, or at least later on in life. But I was always a quiet Black girl, little girl. I loved to read. I loved to draw. I loved being outdoorsy. I lived a pretty average or normal like childhood, but I also wasn't into the things that most of the girls or the kids my age were into, or the Black kids were into. I was a bit of like an oddball, but I didn't mind. I really didn't mind. Like I could be in a room by myself and I don't need any friend to play with. Like I was very comfortable being alone. Still am as an adult. I love being alone. I'm not bothered. Nobody's calling my phone. I am not complaining. Don't threaten me with a good time. Okay. Very, very comfortable with that. And they'll just say like, Light is just, she's in her own world. Like, and my mom, she wouldn't worry about me because she's like, she's keeping herself entertained. Yeah. And as I was entering high school where, there were more social constructs in place, that's when it did kind of have a bit of a negative toll on me. People would be very surprised when they met me or when they like would speak to me because I wasn't loud. I wasn't like aggressive, ghetto, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just saying that to just put emphasis on what these stereotypes are. And I don't even want to say I was a smart Black girl because I believe, and I know many, many intelligent Black women, or Black women are intelligent and very, very smart individuals. So I don't want to like, try and make myself bigger than the program because we are the program. Like every Black woman that was at the school I went to, and it was a predominantly white school. I think for most of my childhood and most of kind of my high school, I was probably either the first, the only black girl, black person in the cohort, not even just the class, the entire cohort, or I was one of a few. And people would just make weird comments, or at least they would be like shocked that I was quiet. I wasn't very confronting. I wasn't any of that. I was just in my own world. I just existed. I was just like, if you were to say, oh, do you know light? Usually people would like put a characteristic of a person next to them. The one that's like this or the one that's like, you would just say, who's that? Because I lived in the background and I did not mind. But as I like was getting older and stuff, like people would make comments. Like my sister, she's very outgoing. She's a very outgoing, bubbly person, very, very friendly. I'm a friendly person, but I wasn't as bubbly or like as approachable the way she was. And her friends would even tell me like, oh, I don't think your sister likes me, or I don't think, and I wasn't much of a smiler. Like I had a very neutral face. And so people would interpret that as like me being mean or whatever. I was never a mean person. I just didn't talk because I didn't have anything to talk about. Or I just didn't want to talk to you. Like it was just that simple. But there was just, I started to realize that there was this weird expectation that you owe like, what's that word? You owe like a certain type of behavior or like an etiquette towards people, especially as black people. Like you can't just exist, you have to be of somewhat use. Like I wasn't the golden black girl or the trophy black girl where everyone would just have just to say they had a black friend. I wasn't the what's that word? I wasn't the entertainment relief. I wasn't the goofy, loud, or like the clown of the classroom. I just existed. And people were very uncomfortable with that because, if you're not going to be like, my entertainment relief, if you're not going to be the class clown, the person that, like, what are you here for? And that made people really, really uncomfortable. And even in social settings, like I would literally just be there just to have a good time. And I would get comments like, oh, I thought you were like, you seem very bougie. You seem very like stuck up. You seem like all these assumptions that people had about me. And I barely even would bleep a word. And again, I wasn't even judgmental. Like I wasn't like, making faces at people. I genuinely was just existing. Maybe it's my resting bee face. I don't know. But that's how people would that's genuinely, people would perceive me in ways that I wasn't even like putting out there. I'm like, I haven't even done anything and I'm already getting like scrutinized, which is crazy. But yeah, I always had an understanding that I was a bit weird. Like I'm very introverted, but I can also be very awkward sometimes. And I think the awkwardness comes from the fact that people are expecting me to behave a certain type of way. But then when I don't, there's just like this weird like abyss. Like, so what do we do here? Like you will talk to me and I'm not a puppet or like, what's that entertainment thingy that like a grand gesture that I'm here for your entertainment and your comedic relief. Like there would be that awkwardness because I would just exist. And I was very, very open, not really open. I was comfortable with my interests. Like I was the black girl that loved K-pop. I was the black girl that loved anime and K-dramas. I was obsessed with BTS, but I wasn't very open about it because even the white girls were attacked about their interests and stuff. And so I was like, whew, I'm already an outcast here, being a dark-skinned woman, a black woman at that, or a black woman and a dark woman at that. If I am very open about this, I'm going to put myself under more hell, and I'm going to be open for more scrutiny and judgment. So I was like, okay, like be smart, baby, like be smart, baby girl. Because if you're already an outcast for being a dark-skinned black woman or a black woman in this predominantly white and Middle Eastern environment, babe, it's not going to end well for you, babe. So I was just smart enough to navigate with discernment, but I really wish I didn't care. But high school was really shitty. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. I really, really hated high school because the high school students were just evil. Like, they were actually spawns of Satan. Like, these high school kids, and also it was a private school too. So the entitlement was skyrocketing. Like, it was so freaking bad. And I just had to be smart. But in the process of me trying to navigate, be smart, and be very careful, I was making myself really, really small. And I really hated that. But I learned to come out of that little shell I had later on, especially after I changed schools, because the school was also extremely racist. So I had to leave for that. And the education was really crap. But yeah, like, I knew I was a weird girl when I would talk. I was like I was the encyclopedia and the Wikipedia of the group. I will talk to, like, and I'm like an information sponge. Like, I love information knowledge. So, like, I would definitely watch my TV shows and watch, keep up with whatever's trending, but I also love to learn. So whatever knowledge and information I consumed over, like, the weekend or the week or even the night before, I will go tell my friends and I will yap about this stuff. I might speaking of that, I might have some, might be a little neurospicy. Anyways, I would talk to my friends about it, and they'll be like, and they would, like, I know they were joking, but they were also being very serious. They'll be like, nobody's listening to you. Or they'll be like, how are you still talking? Like, they'll make comments like that. Like, my friends love me, I think. But yeah, like, and then I would either keep talking or I just would stop. But I was like, oh my gosh, like, did you know? I'll be like, I read, or I'll be like, I watched this video. Like, I loved watching documentaries. I don't even know why, but I loved watching. And then I'll tell my friends about it, like, the next day. And then they'll just shut me down. And they'll be like, and I wasn't a talkative person, okay? I wasn't a talkative person. But once I had information, I'm going to share it with you guys. And you're going to listen. Yeah. I was definitely weird. But my friends were also very weird Black girls. I think that's how we also became very close, is that we were weird Black girls. Like, I knew I had a few friends that were more, like, outspoken and stuff. Like, we had a very diverse friendship group, but I was definitely the weird one. I'll say that for free. I was the weird Black girl. But yeah, I did stand out quite a bit, especially in, like, the way I chose to present myself. I remember there was a point where, like, the natural hair community became a really big thing. And I decided that I wanted to go natural. So I cut my hair, I cut my relaxed hair off, I had new growth, and I went to school and I had my natural hair. This was like me wearing, like, my coarse natural hair for the first time. And probably at that time, 12 years. I had relaxers since I was 3. Like, poor baby me, but yeah, my hair was very thick. My mom didn't know what to do with it, which is crazy because she has the exact same hair as me, but she relaxed her hair. So I think she was like, oh, I can't deal with my own hair. So, relax on my daughter. But I wore it for the first time and I got teased. I was actually the friend of the group that got teased a lot for just being weird. And I didn't see it that way, but I didn't see myself being weird either. But I did get teased a little bit, like, but you know how teenagers are. Like, it was never bullying with my friends. I knew, like, they still loved me down, but they would tease me, like, you're so weird. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And after leaving that school and I came to a new school, I felt a bit more comfortable expressing myself. Like, I would wear my natural hair, I'd wear turbans. I was very comfortable in the way I expressed myself, like, very, very comfortable. And nobody judged me for it. Nobody, teased me or bullied me for it. I was very comfortable. And then, of course, as you get into adulthood, and then you start to see the type of standards, or the standards get even higher as you become a woman. And this is how women need to be, and this is how Black women need to be, and you have to speak this way and act this way and behave this way. Like, I literally recall having conversations with there was one specific guy who was a family friend, and he's Black, by the way, he's African, and he said that, oh, I don't like black women because black women are loud and belligerent and ghetto and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, your mother's a black woman. But I just heard that and I was like, what is this guy talking about? And I think over the course of a few years after that conversation, I definitely internalized that. And especially with social media and all this kind of stuff where like we just weren't being treated well. Like I definitely internalized that. So I felt as though that if I don't fit this criteria, if I don't fit this type of aesthetic, like I'm undesirable or like I'm not pretty or I don't behave in a way that's acceptable. I'm just not acceptable. And that really affected me. And especially with the rise of TikTok and the whole baddie aesthetic and all this kind of stuff, like it becomes more pressure, and you start to, you either crumble under that pressure or you conform or you reject it completely. And I think it took me conforming and then crumbling and then eventually rejecting that. Like I like certain aesthetics. I like to take care of myself. I like to do certain things. I like to not do certain things. But those are all based off of my own interests and my own likes. So it was very, very challenging. And I still am a weird girl because sometimes in certain spaces I feel like I don't fit in, but I don't try to fit in anymore. Like, because I don't want to, because that just takes away from my authenticity and my genuineness and like the essence of who I am. Like I still am a very weird black girl. So sometimes I do get awkward in certain spaces because I'm like, I don't know how to act. So I either just be quiet or I don't fully show my personality. Like I'm serious, but I'm not always as serious. Why are these birds? Hey! Why are they making so much noise? Sorry, Nola. I'll get very uncomfortable. Like I would feel uncomfortable like being around certain black girls because they behave a certain type of way. I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm just saying like they are different or they probably fit more of the status quo than I do. And then I'm like, I feel like I'm not enough here. And then I'll be in certain places and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm too much here. What is going on? So it's like this constant push and pull between who I want to be, who I should be, and who I'm actually showing up as. So that was very, very like challenging. And I'm such a random person. I think that's probably what makes me weird is how random I am. Like I will pick up a hobby, the most random hobby, and you'll be like, huh, like girl, what's, huh? Like, and I'm also very hard to like pinpoint, put a pin on. I think that's probably, because I'm so like, is it spontaneous? Like it's not even spontaneity. I'm just random. Like I'll just do what I want when I want it and just, yeah. And then that would just be it. And it's just like, you're a bit odd for that. Like right now, I have started a plant collection. And I love plants because they make me happy and it's amazing. I've started crocheting. I picked up roller skating. I did Pilates as well. I also swim. Like I have a lot of interests. Like I have my hands dipped in so many different things. And I think that's also odd, but I like it and it's me. And I just don't feel like I have to explain myself. Like I think that's another thing as well, is how me just being weird or being odd, people expected an explanation for me being the way that I am. But I'm like, I'm not going to tell you, or I'm not going to defend myself. I don't need to defend myself. And I don't need those things to validate me at all. Like I'm who I am and I like what I want and I do what I want, period. Yeah. So it was just very weird. Like I was shy, but I wasn't a quiet person. Like I'm not a quiet person. I will yap your ear off. Best believe. If I have a topic of interest, I don't just yap for nothing unless I do. But even then, like I'm more quiet. And it's just like people would be very uncomfortable with me just existing. Like when you're an awkward black girl, you just being yourself and not having to pander to people or like, butter them up to feel accepted, it makes them uncomfortable, or like you have to overcompensate for your existence. Like never needed to do that. And if I did, I look back and I cringe, like, babe, why? Those people, if they don't like you for being you, and they don't like you for all your weirdness and all your quirkiness and all your oddness, so be it. Because they don't have a pot to piss in anyways. So yeah. And in terms of my content, sometimes, like with TikTok, in terms of my content, like with TikTok, I was constantly going through this battle of, do I want to present myself the way I actually am, or do I want to present myself in a way that is acceptable and that's going to bring me views and engagement? And yes, you can get the views and engagement, but after a while it becomes tiring because you're trying to create something that does not come from you. Like you're trying, so it's almost like it's not just unauthentic or inauthentic, but it's also exhausting. Because when you create content that truly reflects who you are, it's very easy to create because it comes from within. Your ideas come from within. You're not here trying to draw so many different inspirations and ideas. Like that's tiring. It expends so much energy, and like the fatigue, like there's already an oversaturation problem. So you're trying to keep up. And then you end up getting burnt out. And I was experiencing a lot of burnout. And I love posting on YouTube because one, not many people are coming across my content like that. And everyone here is pretty open-minded. Like you have a very vast and diverse, or vastly diverse audience here. Whereas on TikTok, you create or you curate your For You page, you curate your audience. So there's going to be, if you make one video, you're going to attract a certain type of audience that relates to the kind of content you're making. So then you have to make content for that audience, and then you also have to make content for that audience. So then you also have to make content for another type of audience. So you're here literally trying to recreate or create different versions of your content to people, when in reality, you should create different content for the version of the person that you are, right? Or the same content, different styles, different, but it's still this specific type of audience that relates or is or that likes your niche, right? So that was really tiring, and I was like, oh, I don't even like this. I don't really like TikTok. TikTok actually was making me so anxious because look at me. I'm the type of girl, I love wearing faux locks. I don't wear wigs all the time. I love wigs, but wigs are very uncomfortable and they keep snatching my edges. Like, I don't want to be a baddie. I'm not a baddie. I'm not a bust down, lashes. My nails, I try to keep them done as much as possible. But I'm not the big three kind of girl. Like my big three is hair, nails, eyebrows, or lash, but that, and I'm a DIY girly too. I do my own hair. I try to do my nails. I do my own skincare, and tell me what you think, right? We're doing great. We're doing a great job. We're doing a pretty good job. So I'm a DIY girly. Like if I can, I'm frugal. Not many people love to spend money. I don't. I used to, but then I saw where my frivolous spending took me, and I'm not going back to that place. So I'm just different. I am different. But most importantly, I'm very comfortable being by myself. Like, and I don't need to explain that to people. I don't feel the need to explain that to people. Like, I used to draw a lot of my validation from my TikTok or likes and posts and the engagement from that. And now I'm like, I don't actually need that anymore. I didn't before. I did after being, involved and having a more social presence on social media. And then after being off social media, I'm like, no, like I'm actually very happy. Like I don't feel pressure, and I don't want to feel pressure because it's so tiring. Today it's this, tomorrow it's that. The next week it's a whole new concept, and it's like, who wants to live like that? It's actually so exhausting. But I'm who I am. I'm weird. I'm odd. I'm quirky, and I want to continue to make content like that. And I hope that me putting this video out here will reflect that even more and motivate me even more to make content about me. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I might make a part 2 because this is a bit rushed, but I have to go to my appointment. So you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in my next one.